Okay, we're sitting here with my girlfriend, Celeste Barber. She's not only my girlfriend, she's a lot of things to a lot of people. How did I find out about you? I found out about you, I think, probably from your Instagram, because she does these. If you don't follow her, which you should be following her, for those of you who are unfamiliar, she does these great kind of, how would you describe them? Just ripping off idiotic modeling poses.
And that's exactly how I would have described it.
Recreating them as a regular person,
kind
a regular
doing parodies.
Yes.
Parodies of them, taking inappropriate, unflattering photos of myself and putting them up against models.
And videos. The videos are really where it's at because, you know, when you see...
Honestly, dogs around me at the moment, it's a whole thing.
And that's the tail. Okay. Let her sit here. It's fine.
Okay, as long as she's not snorting into the microphone. We'll be okay.
I know. He made some questionable sounds the other day, Doug, and I was like, get out of here. It sounds like someone's farting, and it doesn't sound like you. Anyway, Celeste recreates... really, it makes it, you know what I like about it more than the obvious, which is taking the piss and laughing. It really shows you how ridiculous modeling can be. Like what sexy is supposed to be when these girls walk around half naked, you know, with like their tongues out of their mouths or just in some ridiculous pose that you're like, is that sexy? Like when did that become sexy?
Yeah, but like walking around, you know, holding a green smoothie, or like you say, we're like with their tongues hanging out of their mouths, and the caption is just dropping the kids to school.
Right.
And you're like, that's absolutely not what it looks like dropping your fucking kids to school. That's not how, and that's kind of why I started doing it, right? Because it's like, magazines are a pain in the ass and make us all hate ourselves. And now there's this social media that kind of seeps in without us knowing. I was like, no, I'm going to poke fun of that. I actually started doing it before videos were available on Instagram.
Oh, really?
I've been doing this shit for a long time.
Yeah.
When it was just photos, yeah.
Yeah, well, the videos really lend a little bit more context to it because we were also just watching this episode you did of Drew Barrymore's show where this is an issue that happens. We get calls about this all the time on this podcast about body image and how to, you know, everyone always, I can't get down to the size I want to get down. And it's like, I always want to give advice that is not about dieting. You know what I mean? I want to give advice about empowering yourself to accept the body that you're in and be happy about it and learn like how strong, healthy, and vibrant you are and where your value comes from because it's not your body, image that is paramount to everything. You know, I spent so much time in my youth and early 20s, all of my 20s, just obsessing over what I looked like. And what a fucking waste of time that is.
Obsessing over being thin. And I know I'm 42 now, so getting into the sexy perimenopause vibes, which is a real riot. And how it's like, no, ladies, you don't need to just do cardio anymore. What you need to do is lift weights. And I think I wish I fucking knew that earlier about how important it is to be strong and healthy, not just scared and skinny at all times. Or it's like skinny but grateful because you can fit into clothes. And that body image stuff, it's all encompassing.
What really was that quote? Was it Kate Moss's quote? Nothing tastes as good as skinny feels.
That's exactly it.
That's it. So she set us up for this demise that we're living in.
Yeah, thanks, Kate.
We'll blame her for this.
Absolutely.
But it is important. I mean, I think you're a pretty good example of being a normal size and exploiting that. Yeah. You know, and talking about where your value comes from, because you talked about that on Drew Barrymore. So I'd love for you to say a little bit about that.
Well, how I look is the least interesting thing about me, and I've always kind of known that. Like I look fine, but I haven't really cared. Do you know what I mean? I remember when I was younger though, my mum said to me, we were going out, I don't know if maybe it was a school thing, and school was a bag of dicks for me, so I probably didn't want to go, and Mum got me something nice to wear and I was like, oh no, I don't want to do it. And she said to me, you are scared to look nice. You are scared to actually look good because you think you can only do one and you can't do the other. And when I was younger, of course, I was like, fuck you, Mum, you don't know me. I look beautiful all the time. You know, I was always defensive. But as I got older, I was like, I think that's right. I think I'm like, oh no, I just have to, my currency is my sense of humor, my personality, all those sort of things. People, you know, I'm very open with people, and I'm not allowed to kind of be pretty. But as I got older, I was like, I really think my currency of being funny and kind and cutting through shit is a really beautiful thing, and it makes me feel like kind of really gorgeous in that world. And you know, it's fucking tricky because we want to point at someone to blame them, but it's everywhere. It's society just looks at women and goes, if you look a certain way, then certain doors will open for you. If you don't look a certain way, all the best, sorry about that. So like even the body positive movement, it's like they put Ashley Graham on one catwalk and they're like, brilliant, we've ticked that box, we're being inclusive now.
Yeah,
and I never started this to get caught up in the body positive movement. I'm very happy for that movement to pick me up, but I kind of always did it just to make people fucking laugh and just to see how absurd it is. And I did this thing in my first stand-up tour, had a section in my show.
I just want to say that the heavy panting is Celeste's vagina.
It's me.
I don't want you to think that that's me or anything.
They've heard that before.
We have Mimsy on the sofa today, Catherine's dog.
Yeah, breathing heavy about
breathing
the body.
heavily.
So
Yeah,
if
really.
you're hearing
She's
anything,
really into
that's
it.
what you're hearing.
Yeah, no one's listening to me. That the fuck is going on in the background?
It's like a doggy porn is being shot.
It is. It's a whole other demographic for podcasts.
Sorry to interrupt you.
No, please. That's in my first show. I did a section, brave versus empowering. So when I would post a photo, so if whoever the model was, I'd look on there and underneath a lot of it, because they're not usually wearing much, it'd be like, oh, that's really empowering for women. Yeah, look at us, but we can get our tits out and look amazing. And then when I do my parody and put my photo next to it, everyone said how brave it was. Like, look how brave she is for putting that body out into the world. So a gorgeous model does it and it's empowering for women. Then I do it. It's like, oh God, the children. Oh, it's so brave of her. I was like, that's not fucking brave. Like,
we have to redefine a lot of words in society
absolutely,
these days.
Absolutely.
I remember breaking my arm when I was a little girl and them telling me at the hospital how brave I was. And I'm like, I didn't try to break my arm. I didn't do it on purpose. I didn't run in front of a car to save another kid.
Yeah.
I fucking fell over my dog. Like, there's nothing brave about this.
Yeah.
But even at 8, I was like, that's not the right use of that word.
Yeah. And why? And always with women and girls, you're being so brave. It's like, no, you were just fucking uncoordinated. You fell over your dog. It's not brave.
Yeah. Yeah. You also said something on Drew's show that I loved, which is your husband is a tree, what is the word? Not an arborist.
He's an arborist.
Oh, an arborist.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
And you were talking about what that means, that he gets up and trims trees and, takes care of trees. But you said that you've retired him. And we both loved that because we were like, thank you. Like, that is exactly right.
You love that. Yeah. He fucking loves that. He absolutely loves that.
Handsome husband is her husband, and he
hot
is
husband.
handsome. I've met him in person. We saw each other in Sydney. Celeste and I have had a burgeoning friendship for many years. We keep running into each other in different parts of the world, and they were nice enough to come to my show, one of my shows in Sydney.
Yeah.
Right. And he is very handsome. And
He's
I was like,
really hot.
I was like, good for you. Like, I love this reverse dynamic, which is sadly to say a reverse dynamic as we speak.
Absolutely. And he is incredible about that as well. We have, groups of friends where the husband is, he's a surfer or a professional surfer, but his wife has been looking after those children, taking them around the world on these world tours and stuff. But Arpy that's my husband's name, Arpy even points out that he gets so much more of an audience as being a stay-at-home dad than our friend does for being a stay-at-home mum. Like, they'll be like, that's so amazing. So hang on, you do the lunches for the boys every morning? That's amazing. And he's like, yeah.
What a dad.
So do my friends, like sort of those ladies over there, but there's just no audience for it. And people always say how lucky I am.
You are.
I'm so
Right,
lucky
right.
to have him. I'm like, bitch, I fly him business class everywhere he fucking goes.
and
He
you're
is
also-
lucky.
Yeah, and you're also fucking flying around the world doing your thing,
Yeah.
and busting your ass.
Yeah.
It is so funny how imbalanced the reward systems are for
Yeah.
men who stay at home. But I mean, I'm hoping that will change even in the face of what we're dealing with politically, because women are the reason why this election happened the way it is, because as men, I believe, is because men are so threatened anyway by women's success. And it's like, you can be as threatened as you want. We're still succeeding. There are too many women that are like paying for their families and that are the breadwinners.
Absolutely.
And
Yeah,
there
you
are
can
many
be-
women that are single that are doing it, that are choosing not to have children. And that's a huge threat to men.
Yeah, and that's fine. Be threatened, but just go over there and be threatened. Like, get out of the fucking way and be threatened so we can just keep going.
Yeah. Let's talk about you came when you were launching your makeup line, Buoy.
Yeah.
Buoy.
Buoy Beauty.
She has a great makeup line that she just launched, and it just launched here in the States as well. If you're listening nationally, if you're listening you're listening domestically.
On the local radio in
if
Arkansas.
If you're listening to this on AM stereo, that's how my father used to go say AM stereo. He's like, turn on the stereo. I'm like, where are you from? Philadelphia? Anyway,
stereo?
My favorite product is that eyebrow enhancer.
Bring back the bush.
Oh, yeah. You
Bring back the
eyebrow
bush. Yeah, because the 90s fucking stole them.
The 90s stole them. And
90s
also,
stole
once
them.
once you hit 45 or 40, your eyebrows all of a sudden turn into, I don't know what. I mean,
a wispy little. Same with my fucking hair. What's that? It's like all my hair has now started growing out of my face and my fucking neck, and not on my head. Like it's thinning and it's not. I've got feathers.
I like the idea of neck hair.
It was like goiter hair. It's and that thing where. The other day I was standing and I was like, oh, this is really nice light. And my husband went, yeah, hang on, and walked over and just like went yoink and pulled it one and out of my neck.
No.
And I was like, I didn't ask for fucking feedback. He goes, you needed the feedback before you film yourself. I've got these long, luscious locks that come out of my neck now.
I know. My sister's always goes like this. My sister Shauna always goes like this. She's always feeling for her whisker to come in. And I'm like, can you stop rubbing your beard? Like,
stop plaiting your
Come to
beard.
think of it, I just spent the weekend with her on the East Coast and she wasn't doing that. So maybe she learned her. I was like, pluck your hairs before you come out.
She probably got someone to shave her face before you turned up.
But no, they're the thicker ones. The black ones, not the little, like, I shave my face all the time with an eyebrow razor, right?
Yeah, same.
First of all, it's a great exfoliant.
It's so good, but then it gets a little bit. I actually did it before I came over here. Got a little bit of stubble there now. I was talking to a friend the other day, and I thought she just had like a little eyelash here, and I leant over and went and pulled, but it was connected. It was like a long one, and I went, "Oh, that's connected. I'm sorry." She's like, "What?" And it was like really long and white. She said it wasn't there last night. It's here this morning. I was like, I didn't know it was connected.
The
mate.
joys of aging as a woman.
Yeah, you need good friends. Yeah. But no hair on my eyebrows, so that's why. Yeah, bring back the bush.
Right.
Got to draw the bastards back in.
How long did it take you to develop your brand, to create it? And
well, it's been in my head for a long time, but I'm breaking news, ADHD, so I couldn't get it out of my head. I was kind of at a point where I was like, I'm happy just to go to parties now for the next 5 years and be like, I've got a really good idea for a makeup brand and do fuck all about it. And then I met Claire, my business partner, and she was like, you're a lot, and made it happen. So I reckon we've been developing for about a year and a half, 2 years, getting it all together.
That's great to get something off the ground. I mean, I've tried to develop things in the past and I've lost interest halfway through. I'm like, this is too long.
I'm exactly the same.
It's taking way too long. I don't care.
We launched when I was doing a world tour, which was great because already I was like, do we really want to do a makeup brand? They're like, we've sunk a fair bit of money into this, idiot. Yes, we're going to do it. I get really bored of stuff as well. So
what was your impetus? Like, what was your ethos behind the brand?
Well, I wanted it to be makeup that you can't fuck up, because I find, like I said, I'm 42, and the only thing kind of in the makeup space, in the beauty space now for women over the age of 6 is like anti-aging serum or anti-aging cream. Like there's nothing really directly targeted at us. It's like my 11-year-old niece, it's all for her. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to make it uncomplicated and nothing that you need to watch a 75-minute makeup tutorial to understand. Like I love makeup. I have a face for makeup. So I really do. Which was great when I was younger, right? Because at school, I looked like a slapped ass. But then for our year 12 formal, I rocked up with makeup. People were like, damn. Yes. And I was like, yeah, you regret bullying me now, Dickert? That's right. I've got it going on. So I fucking love makeup. And I wanted to, we've started with just 5 products. And I just use every single day, all the time, to get you out the door for busy mums. I heard someone say the other day that when you're in your 40s, like 40 onward, you're moving into your invisible era. Oh, what? I don't want that. Like, I just feel like I'm getting more excellent now. I remember you saying that once.
Yeah.
You're like, you've never been in better shape in your life. You've never been stronger, more successful. And that's exactly how I feel. So, and it's for like Wendy in Wichita, who's listening on the stereo. It's for those girls who come to my shows all around the world. They're like placeholders for everyone else in their life who are going, oh, well, I've just used the same stuff forever because I don't understand. I'm like, no, I got you. This is fun, easy, and makes you, it's all about like the best version of you. That's what I'm interested in, the best version of you. And that's what Buoy does.
Yeah, and it's also low maintenance because
Super easy.
I'm not into like I like 5 products because if I'm not on camera, even for this podcast, like I slap on some blush and some lip balm, and I'm like, let's just hope for the best.
And I think that's what most of us do,
yeah,
right?
And I can't be bothered with all of the
No.
shenanigans around makeup and all of this stuff. It's like taking supplements. I don't want to do that either. You know, I'd just rather get a shot a week with everything in it and be done with it.
I'm exactly the same. My kids were given all these supplements a while ago, and try and give kids fucking tablets.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to have that at 6 a.m., you got to have that at 5, and all these things. And I just said to my husband, let's just not give them anything and we'll pay for a fucking kidney transplant or whatever when they're 16. I'd rather that. I'm not doing this shit.
How old are your boys now?
10 and 13.
Do they respect you?
No. You just answered your own question. No, I'm a lot for them. No, No, they don't respect me. They love their dad.
Do they think you're funny?
More and more now, yeah.
Oh, more and more. Because usually they go through a phase between those ages or around those ages where they start to think, probably like 13 to 16 more, where they are like, you're not funny, you're not cool. That's the age of right? Where they turn on you.
Yeah, exactly. They're kind of getting there a little bit more. My kids don't have social media, and hopefully they never will. They don't game or anything like that. Really, but
that's lucky. Your husband doesn't.
I'm really full on about it.
Oh, you are.
I'm really fucking full on about it. So how do you? I don't want to. And
good for you.
I have a really overactive brain, and having ADHD, low dopamine. So this thing just fucks me as it is. I don't want that for my kids. We've just always been really full on about it, and kind of feel like it's easier to say no from the beginning than give it to them and try and take it off them, because they become fucking heroin addict monsters if you take it from them. Mm-hmm. So my kids are the poor kids. When we go out for dinner with friends and all the other kids are on their phone, my kids come and sit down and go, and I want to play Uno. I make them take cards, and all the kids end up playing, but we're just quite.
It's pronounced Uno, right?
No, it's Uno. Just so you know.
So many more syllables when you say it.
So many. That's why you guys are like, what fucking game are you peasants playing in Australia?
But how do they respond? Like,
their friends are on social media. So my oldest son came home a few weeks ago and was like, Mom, my friends have found you on TikTok.
Uh-oh.
And I was like, are you good? Are you all right? And he goes, well, it's just weird. I was like, yeah, you don't need to get it. That's okay, but it's what I do and you'll be fine. And also, and then he's like, oh, I don't know, it just makes me feel weird. I'm like, well, I kind of know Kevin Hart. And he's like, oh, yeah, that's better. Like if I say that, if I drop a name, he's like, it's fine, it's fine. So you just have to play.
But how do you justify you having social media as a profession and them not even being allowed to be on it? Like
work. I say it's work.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, which it is for me. I'm hoping that we have been so full on about it that they have almost kind of missed the time of being obsessed with it. It's not like a known thing to them, because that's what it is, right? It's just fucking habit, picking up your phone. So I'm hoping that has passed for them. But look, they have phones and everything, but I ask them as well to call me out sometimes. If I'm on my phone, I'll get them to say, Mum, are you working or no? And I'll be like, oh, shit, I'm not. And I'll get rid of my phone because I just go into a vortex or I just lie and go, yeah, I'm working. I'm not.
I keep waiting. Like, I guess this is kind of like similar or analogous to the Kardashians. Like, I kept waiting for it to end and it just kept going and going. Like, I kept waiting for social media for there to be like a backlash on social media. Like, no more, like, everyone understands how damaging and like the impact of it is and what we're going to do. What we should do as a society, which is like to take a break. It's like all this misinformation, all this conspiracy theory bullshit. But that would require like an enlightenment, throughout, like a global enlightenment. And we're definitely not there.
No, I think, I've been here for a week or so now, but I think I saw online that at home in Australia, we're bringing in, our Prime Minister's bringing in legislation that kids under 16 are not allowed to have social media.
Oh, that's incredible.
Yeah, I don't know how
another
you
reason to
police
move
that.
to Australia.
But don't tell everyone to move to Australia.
No, I wouldn't. I'm just
don't
saying.
do that.
We'll ruin it.
No, don't. Yeah, please, no.
There's so many places you can go.
Yeah. So I think they're looking to bring that in. Again, I don't know how you fucking police that.
But some of the younger people too are like not using social
That's
media.
what I mean.
They're either 14
That's
hours
why,
a day or nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think if you can get past the window of it being so. Like I have 3 nieces, and they're on social media, but they're not addicted to social media.
Yeah.
Like they don't post. They post once in a while. You know what I mean? And I like that cadence more.
Yeah, they don't post much. This is the thing.
Right.
They don't kind of post much. The kids, I've noticed, the youngins, like the teens, early 20s kind of, that they're not posters. It's like the 20-year-olds that post, and so those young ones are watching their stuff. My stepdaughters are 25 and 23, and the 23-year-old doesn't post. She might post once every 6 weeks because she went out to a party or something, but they're not active on it, which I don't know if I love, because just being passive on it and watching it and just infiltrating everything you do, I think that can be a bit more dangerous than actively partaking in it.
Yeah. Do you have one of those limits on your phone where you like
but ignore?
Yeah, ignore. My friend was like, you can put a limit. And I was like, you didn't tell me we could fucking ignore the limit every time the limit comes up.
Yeah, that's
it says 15-minute limit, and then the biggest, brightest blue button under it says ignore. You go, ignore. It's just easier.
How was your tour this summer after I left you? After I saw you? Was it this summer?
I saw you after my tour. I was here May, June. Fucking great.
But you did an Australian
tour. And then I did Australia,
after.
New Zealand. Fucking great.
Do you love being on tour?
I love it.
I'm
getting better at it as well, because I try so many different ways of doing, having kids, right? And living in Australia and having touring over here. I can't just do weekends. I'd love to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or like, you know, how you do it, but I can't. And we're not moving over here. So I just have to.
Why not?
Yeah.
Things are great.
What's the problem?
Why has something happened? Is there not an amazing reason to move here? Have I missed something? Fucking hell. It's terrifying. So yeah, I just kind of come over and bang it out over 6 weeks when I'm in America. But so when I go home to Australia, I do try and do the Thursday, Friday, Saturdays.
Yeah.
And come home, and I love it. I love live performance.
Nice. I know. And it's also
the
nice.
best.
It's also nice that cadence, because you could, you work on the weekends, you come home, you recover one day. It takes a day or two to recover from the travel and whatever you got up to. And then you go back out. It's kind of like the perfect schedule.
Yeah. I just wish I could do that over here, or make the same money I make over here at home.
Right.
But, but I love it.
Okay, on that note, we're going to take a break, and we'll be right back with Celeste Barber. And we're back with Celeste Barber.
We are back.
She's our very special guest all the way from the Gold Coast, right? That's where you live?
Kind of south of the Gold Coast.
I'm still unclear about where.
I like that, though. I like people being unclear. That's fine with me. It's fine with me. I saw someone actually when I was home. I was in a shop in Sydney, and she was like, "What are you doing?" No, actually, I was in a shop near where I live. She goes, "What are you doing here?" And I went, "Oh, I live around the area." And she went, "No, you don't." I went, "What?" And she goes, "No, you don't. You live in LA." And I went, "All right, I'm just visiting. I've just come here to visit." Like, sure, let's go with that.
That reminds me of this book I read once, Rebecca Solnit. It was called Light in the Dark, or Finding Light in the Dark, or something. Anyway, it was a very profound book about being a woman, but it starts out with this chapter about, and this is different because it's a male and female dynamic, but she starts out with this chapter talking about how she was at a dinner party, and this man came up to her and was telling her about her own book.
Yeah.
Quoting her book, saying like, you should really read this book. It just came up naturally in conversation. She's like, I wrote that book. And he was like, no, you didn't.
Oh, wow.
And she's like, yes, I wrote that book that you're telling me, that the one that you're mansplaining to me about, I fucking wrote.
When you're telling me the plot line about, I wrote that. Also, do you find this when people, well, probably not with you, but in the street, when they go, "Oh, hi," I get this a lot. People are like, "Where do I know you from?"
I find that to be the most annoying question.
And I'm like, well, and they go, "Did you go to so-and-so school?" And I'm like, "Don't do this.
Please.
It's not how you know me." She goes, "No, hang on a minute.
No.
You're a few years ahead of me." And I like, this is going how I fucking hoped it to go for you. But then someone goes, no, that's right. You work in that cafe down the road from me. I was like, "Yeah, I do." And I've just taking the summer off. See ya. People tell you how they know you, and you're like, "No, don't do this to us."
Last weekend, I was in New York City, and I got in the elevator with this couple. As I was walking into my hotel, I could see that she was like ogling me and, probably recognized me. So we get in the elevator, and she and her husband are both like staring at me. I'm on my phone, actively pretending to be on my phone, like, please don't interact. I'm not in the mood for this kind of interaction. I can already tell you're going to be annoying. And
You
she goes,
feel annoying.
she goes, I'm sorry. We're from Toronto. And that was it. And I went, what? And she goes, we're from Toronto. How do we know you?
Oh, stop.
As if, you have to understand when you say something like that, what am I supposed to do next?
Exactly.
List my credits?
Exactly.
Well, you may know me from this.
Pull up
You're
your
like started
IMDb
in
You
the
may have seen me
theater
on the
and-
Drew Barrymore show.
Yeah.
And just are you fucking kidding me?
know.
It's so stupid. And she goes, it's just killing us. I go, it's not killing you. You just walked inside from the lobby into
Yeah.
the elevator.
And we're in an
It's-
elevator.
In 3 minutes, nothing is killing you about this situation. You could have easily ignored it and just never figured out who I was.
Or made it up.
But now I'm just I'm Chelsea Handler, and that's it. That's
Yeah.
all you get, and you figure it out from there if you're not familiar.
And was she like, no, you're not Chelsea?
That's not who you are.
She's like, Elizabeth Banks? What? Okay, we're going to take some callers and questions, and we're going to give real life advice. This is what we do here.
Save the fucking world. That's what we're going to do. Let's go.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Let's get the party started.
Well, Heather writes in and she says, Dear Chelsea, I'm an avid listener and a longtime fan, and I can't wait to see you in Vegas. Thinking of going for my future ex-husband's birthday.
Oh, I love it.
Love
Love that.
I've been married for almost 20 years, and we have 2 children adopted from foster care. A few months ago, I was out of town with the kids, and he welcomed an online hooker into our home. And when he passed out drunk, she stole my jewelry and makeup. He proceeded to blame the kids for stealing it, lied about it for days until I found the deleted text on his phone. I knew damn well a woman stole the things because it was so precisely done. I should thank her for the evidence. He wants to, quote, fix things, but I am not down for that. We've had many prior conversations regarding infidelity and my firm stance of not tolerating it. So needless to say, I am done. Our immediate family and close friends know what's going on. My kids and I are in therapy. So my question is this: how do I tell others, mutual friends, coworkers, my longtime patients, I'm a physical therapist, when they say, how's the family or how are you? And I'm not sure what to say. The honest answer feels too raw for some people, but acting like nothing is wrong feels ick also. What's the middle ground? Thanks for your advice, Heather.
Oh, Heather.
I know.
Well, first of all, you don't owe anyone the explanation. I understand that I desire to want to be truthful and transparent when you're going through something, because it's like when someone says, how are you? And you're about to break down and you're like, I'm good. I understand what the desire, and you have every right to also be transparent to the degree that you're comfortable with. So you can easily just say, we're actually going to separate, we're separating without giving them, your doctor's not going to be like, what happened? You don't have to say, I caught him with an online hooker who stole my jewelry, although that's going to be a good story later down the road.
See, I would say that. That is my advice. I know Heather did not write into me, but she's written. That would be my advice. Heather has taken too much time looking after other people. I think she should say to her gynecologist, I'm happy you asked. He's a piece of shit. We're in fucking Vegas. He gets some hooker. She steals my shit. He blames the kids.
That
and
is
now I'm here. How's my
unforgivable.
cervix? I would just say it outright.
That's also an option. There's really no losing way to deal with this situation.
Don't worry about how other people feel about it.
Yeah,
Heather.
and I
Just
wouldn't.
tell people.
Also, I agree. When you're going through some sort of maelstrom of emotion like that, and you're dealing with the breakup of your marriage, the last thing you have to worry about is how other people are viewing you. Who gives a shit? And take this as a new license in life, or new lease on life. You're moving forward, and this is your attitude. Fuck off.
Yeah, fuck off.
Yeah.
All right, Heather, there you have it. Well, our next question comes from Amanda, and she's going to be joining us here. Brad, we have Amanda, right?
She comes out from the kitchen.
Amanda's
Love a cup of tea.
Welcome, Amanda.
Darling.
Dear Chelsea, my name is Amanda, and I'm currently in my 13th year in public education. While I'm financially stable, I am unequivocally unhappy. In an effort to change up my routine and job role, I've transitioned from classroom teacher to instructional coach and back again a couple of times, but to no avail. Despite the knowledge that I'm doing important work, I've lost my passion. I feel as though I'm at a personal crossroads and need your guidance. Since I was young, I've always wanted to be a writer. I dabbled in music journalism in college and have done some freelance work. Though I haven't been published in quite a while and my writing is basically confined to journaling, I can't shake the feeling that now would be a great time to reignite that passion and challenge myself to completely shift my career trajectory. At almost 41 years old, with a wealth of education and life experience, it seems like there's no time like the present. I can't fathom taking a pay cut, especially being a single woman living in San Diego, let alone walking away from the only constant in my life for the past 13 years. So where do I begin? I'm trying to get back to structured writing time, connect with friends who are already successful in the industry, and even have the opportunity to reconnect with a former writing coach. I guess I'm just hoping for some insight from someone who I admire and respect. How do you hold yourself accountable and practice the self-discipline needed to be a success in this field? How do I pursue this avenue that lacks job security? My next steps feel murky, and for the first time in my life, I'm scared to take the leap. Amanda.
Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Hi, Amanda.
Oh, we need our headphones on. We need our headphones. Here you go.
We're so professional.
It's our first time.
We're like, what's
I was like,
going
she's
on?
muted.
Who's
She's not
Amanda?
muted. All right. Hi, Amanda.
Hello.
Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
Hi.
This is our first podcast. Sorry, we forgot our headphones. I get excited when I'm around Celeste. First of all, it sounds like you're doing all of the things that you need to be doing to get the party started.
Yes. And since I've written in, I've essentially given myself permission to exit this profession. I started to realize that how emotionally drained I've been at the end of every workday left no room to try to focus on this creative endeavor. So I've been very aggressively looking for new work that will just pay the bills, but let me focus on, my personal hobbies and where I'd like to kind of go professionally.
Yeah, if you're under the assumption that the writing isn't going to pay dividends right away, right? You need something to tide you over while you're exploring the writing.
Right, exactly.
So do you know what that's going to be? Or is that one of your questions?
Well, that's just kind of still, I've actually been working with a job coach to update my resume. Applying for jobs is so different than it was 13 years ago that I've had to do a lot of kind of work on that end to get the applications out there. So that's what I'm just trying to be really focused on doing so I can get to a better place where I'm not so miserable going to work every day.
Absolutely. That's not going to give you any energy to be creative.
Right. Exactly. So now it's just kind of continuing to put that out there and just starting to build in some structured writing time. I guess my big questions are kind of how to hold yourself accountable for something that's seemingly done in isolation.
Well, easily. I mean, it's kind of like everything you do in isolation, whether you meditate, whether you do your positive affirmations, whether you I do all of those things. I exercise alone. Mostly I have a trainer, but that kind of feels like I'm alone anyway because of his personality. But I do with writing. I'm not a big person about structure. I kind of when I'm feeling motivated or inspired, when I read something really great, that makes me want to write something, so my creativity, I should say, comes in bursts. It's very unstructured. I have a new book, and that took 3 years because I started one place. I changed it many times. But I think for someone who craves structure, and Celeste, obviously chime in whenever you feel like, because she's a creative too. I didn't even introduce our special guest, Celeste Barber. I'm sorry.
Hi, darling.
But I would just schedule yourself. If you sit down for, even if it's 30 minutes a day, it sounds like you're going to be wanting to even write more than that. You're going to be wanting to write for an hour, a couple of hours a day. Once you start doing that daily, where you put your phone away, you put your stuff away, and you just sit at your desk or whatever place that gives you the most, inspiration in a kind of structured way, really put yourself in there, set your alarm somewhere, in the house for 2 hours later, and sit there, and the act of creativity begets the act of creativity.
Absolutely.
Once you start writing, whatever, if I have to write a new hour for stand up, whenever I film a special, whenever we film a special, you have to write another new hour of material. Whenever I have to write new material, I'm ugh, it's like a hurdle. It's what am I going to write about? What am I going to talk about?
Absolutely. And I'm the same with you. My creativity, and when I wrote my book, it came in bursts. So, it'd be dinner time and I'd be like, oh, guys. So I'd sit at the kitchen bench while my husband did everything and I'd be like, I've got it. It just kind of came. But then for my last hour, for my new tour that I'm doing, I did exactly what you're saying. I just set a timer. I literally set a timer. I took the kids to school, set a timer for 3 hours in my office and was like, I'm not moving from here.
Right.
It doesn't matter kind of what you're writing, but then you find with that structure and being a creative, that even after, it could be after 10 minutes, after an hour and a half, you're like, oh no, there's real flow here. You just have to make yourself do it.
Yeah. Yeah. And allotting a certain amount of time is a very good way.
Really helps, yeah.
To just kind of, you get in the habit of it, because then before you know it, you're spending more time doing it. And when things like, I'm always writing in my notes section too, like little ideas for things, or this could be a good joke, or this is a good punchline, or whatever, those will happen throughout the day, and as the more honed in you get on creativity, the more creative you become. So I think everything that you've said you've done, it's like most people haven't done all those things. So you're already like more than halfway there. And I think what follows is going to be just a very natural progression for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Are you already doing that?
I am. No, I'm not, in terms of the creative writing, I'm not there yet.
What do you want to write about?
Right now, I'm kind of looking more like on the novel side, kind of just like gleaning from some personal life experience, but trying to fictionalize it a little bit more. And I think part of the hesitance with that is sometimes I have to go to like really painful, dark places to get that out. And while I know the end product is catharsis when it comes to just like getting it out there, I think sometimes when I'm like, I have to go there, I kind of like try to keep it at an arm's length and almost avoid.
Well, I can speak from experience that you want to get as close to all of that stuff as possible, because that's where all of your personal stories, I mean, you can't lose with that stuff. And while you might think it's going to be scary or something difficult emotions to face, once you face those emotions, you realize how much you overestimated your own security now. Like when you're looking back at something, you can be fearful of it. And then once you face it, you realize you have nothing on me. And it's quite cathartic to write about the pain that we experience in our lives.
And I find as well, the thought of writing about it or the thought of dealing with it in a creative sense is always much more terrifying and daunting than actually doing it, in my experience, because it's catharsis, as you say. The idea of sitting down and having to dive into something is too big, and so you avoid it. But once you're in it, it can be very fulfilling. I'd also say do the easy chapters first. Do the fun, light stuff first. Do even just start that structure idea of setting an alarm and write the nice, fun stuff just to get yourself into that routine and into that discipline before you have to go deep.
Absolutely. Thank you. How would you approach, like obviously I'm thinking much longer term, like long run at this point, self-publishing, reaching out to publishers? What might that process look like?
I think that this whole media world is so different. Everything is changing so fast. Everything is online. Everything is about striking a chord. It doesn't, like these old world publishers, like, yeah, they can be an advantage in many respects, but also people are self-publishing all the time. And the most important thing to do is like to get a dialogue going with people. So like to think about social media as a useful way for you to see out your career strategy, right? To use these platforms to, whether you're writing little snippets every day of like motivational things for people, or funny little like snippets of like, a couple lines of a funny story or an experience that happened to you at the grocery store, something that can like relate to other people and get them interested in what you're giving them, and then you're building an audience and you're building like a fan base almost, of relatability, so that kind of gives you more of an avenue if and when you do decide to self-publish. But in terms of reaching out for publishers, you just kind of have to knock down, you knock on doors and try to get yourself a literary agent. I don't think that's the only way to do that anymore.
I agree with social media. Absolutely. There's an audience for everything now, an audience for everything and anything now. And yeah, kind of teasing it out. Then you get people, followers who are like, oh, actually that resonates with me, and they follow along and they want to know more. And yeah, then you build an audience, and you don't always have to do it the traditional way anymore of going to a publisher.
And you always have to know that there is an audience. When you're talking about your point of view about something, there's always an audience. You know, like don't underestimate the value of that, because if you're sharing your personal life, there are always going to be other women, whether they're in the same area area as you or in the same age group as you. Like somebody I think of is Caitlin Murray. Do you know Caitlin Murray?
No.
She talks about just what a pain in the ass it is having children while she still loves her children. And she's developed this huge following, which led to a book, which led to, so you just have to figure out led to a book. She has her own podcast now. You have to figure out what your currency is, right? Big Time Adulting is her Instagram.
Right.
And this woman is really fun and has 3 children and is just like, you know what they never told you about parenting? You know what they never said is that when you drop your fucking kids off, you just want to sit in your car and smoke a joint for 3 hours, and how unkempt her life is. But she's a great example of finding that niche that is going to register with other people and resonate with other people, and then building from there. And if you're talking about writing fiction, maybe there's cute little stories you can tell about your daily activities or interactions that you've had with people. Just really start to think about what kind of messages are you trying to send out? What is your kind of hook to get people? And it might take a while, but you'll be surprised at how easily you can grow something when you're sharing parts of yourself with other people, because everyone kind of wants that,
Right.
People want to hear other people's stories. They want to hear other people's trials and tribulations.
Mm-hmm.
And it takes a lot of work. Don't be disheartened by that. Don't think, oh, this is really, really hard. I probably shouldn't be. It's really fucking hard, I think, to have self-discipline, especially, as a woman you don't have to ask permission to start an Instagram account, to start putting these quotes up like Chelsea's saying, or to start reaching out. It takes a lot of work.
And you can also even have an Instagram post where you post a video saying, "Hey, I'm somebody who's recent, newly career free. I'm looking to develop a career in writing. I'm looking to develop a career in fiction writing. If anyone out there wants to join a group with me, where you can talk to other writers, really put yourself out there, because you'll be surprised at how responsive people will be." In your community, and how many other people may be like-minded or may know somebody who's like, oh, I can hook you up with this person.
Yeah, I love that too, because I feel like having accountability partners is super important for me. Otherwise, I'm like, oh, I got this. And then, 3 years later, draft 1 still in motion.
Yeah, but definitely sit down and give yourself that allotted time. Whatever is doable and manageable for you, make sure you do that every day for at least 5 days a week for the next month. And I promise you, by the end of the month, you'll be spending more than your allotted time doing it.
Perfect.
And also, good for you for quitting a job that's not fulfilling.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank
That's
you.
massive.
Yeah, it's we don't need to go there, but I'm scared to see what's going to happen in education in the next 4 years anyway. So
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Why? What's happened? Has something happened?
No,
in
nothing
America?
happens
What's
here. She's
happened?
from Australia, so she doesn't watch
Oh,
the
really?
news. She doesn't know what's happening.
It hasn't been all over the Australian news either. What's going on?
No, Australia is so too far away to know about
fine.
America.
good for you. Stay there.
All right. Thank you so much, Amanda. Check in with us, okay?
Bye.
Well, thank you all so much. I appreciate your time today.
Bye, Amanda.
Thanks.
Good luck with
Bye.
everything.
Thank you.
I will also send this to her, but Book Talk, I have heard, has been very helpful for a
Book
lot of
Talk.
authors.
Book Talk.
TOK on TikTok.
Oh.
The books area on TikTok.
Oh.
I get all my recommendations from there. I know a couple authors who are like, this is the way I've gotten my self-published
Oh, that's great.
novel out there. And they post about all kinds of stuff.
A lot of people self-publish now.
Yeah. So, well, our next caller is Sarah. She says, Dear Chelsea, my brother proposed to his longtime girlfriend over the summer and asked our parents to help fund the wedding. Pretty normal stuff, but I found out there's some tension about money, the wedding location, other details. Not super fun, but I guess that's typical for a wedding where everyone's a decision maker. A while back, my brother's fiance called to let me know that they've decided to keep the wedding parties small, just 2 people on each side, and they wanted to make sure I was okay with not being part of the bridal party. Her sister and best friends are the 2 bridesmaids. I was honestly fine with it, and I wasn't expecting to be included. They even asked me to be the witness when they signed the documents, so I left the call feeling totally okay. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and my brother's fiance calls me stressed out. Apparently, my dad has been sharing his opinion that it's incredibly hurtful and mean that I'm not in the bridal party. He's even told her that even though I've said I'm fine, I'm just being nice and would never reveal how I really feel. My dad claims he only shared his thoughts with my brother, but my brother's fiance showed me his texts, and they tell a different story. I get where both sides are coming from. Weddings don't look like they did in the 80s, but I don't agree with how my dad is handling it. I've been staying out of it, but we're still a year out from the wedding, and this bridal party drama is creating unnecessary tension around an event that's supposed to be joyful. Should I step in or stay out of it? Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, how's it going?
Hi, this is our special guest, Celeste Barber, today.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you?
Good.
You look sweet.
Yeah, very sweet. First of all, weddings aren't fun. I'll just say that up front. As someone who has had one, my wedding was the best. Everyone says it about their wedding. But I think you're right in not being a part of the bridal party. Being a part of the bridal party is an absolute
pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass. It's a nightmare. So I think you've made an excellent decision, especially now that you're still a year out from this wedding and already the bridal party's been picked. This seems like a little bit of a high-maintenance wedding. I think you've done a very good job of staying out of it.
Well, it's not her choice to stay out of it. They've kind of just basically decided that she was going to stay out of it.
But not having the shits about it, not going, but I want to, but I want to. I think it's very good to be like, great, I can actually wear what I want and get, blackout drunk at the beginning.
Yep.
And how do you actually feel about not being in the wedding party?
I mean, I'm honestly pretty indifferent. I don't think I really expected it. It's not something that I just am aware of as it being a tradition. I know that I have some family who would do that and they'll have a much larger bridal party, but so many people I know are just doing things so differently that my expectations were so low, if non-existent. So
well, that's very healthy attitude.
I got the phone call and was okay. I think if it was I'm going to have 8 people and this girl I just met yesterday is also part of my bridal party, but I just can't include you, then I'd be a little concerned. But I'm not her sister or her friend that's, known her whole life. So I don't really kind of expect to be in that to minimum. So
no, I think you're absolutely right on the money. I don't like any drama regarding stuff like this. It's so stupid. Let people do what they want to do. But what did your dad write in the text that you saw to her?
Oh my God, I don't even remember off the top of my head. It was just very you're just being very mean. We really don't like this. We really don't like the way that it's, setting the tone for the future. It was just a long kind of paragraph. And he was very insistent on no, I'm just trying to do this with my brother. Or I'm just trying to communicate with my brother. I'm not trying to involve anyone else. But I'm but you literally sent a text to her. So now that she has a physical text in her phone,
Dad's got opinions. Wow.
It's got big feelings.
I think
very strong. I was very I was just kind of surprised at the intensity. It's one thing to be oh, well, from, my nephew's wedding, his wife had my, cousin as part of the bridal party. But that's maybe one example, maybe just a few examples. And you can't just kind of rely on just a few examples as the norm. And so I was
but also your dad just should also chill out. He's a nosy Nelly. You should, and you've talked to your father about this, right?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, he tried to get, I kind of really just tried to stay out of it and really just tried to kind of not respond for a while because I was just I don't want to deal with this. But he knows.
It sounds like your dad wants to be a bridesmaid. That's what it sounds like.
Exactly.
Sounds like your dad's pissed that he's not a bridesmaid. Is your dad upset just at the fact that you haven't been asked to be a bridesmaid, or is there other things to do with the wedding that he's also not stoked about?
I mean, there's probably other things too. So it's probably just layered on top of it. Part of it's a destination wedding. There's a lot of money involved. There's who gets invited, all of that stuff. And so there's, I'm sure, a plethora of other things.
Well, a good way to nip it in the bud permanently would be to send them a text, your father and your brother and his fiance, a thread, and be like, hey guys, I noticed there's been some dissension about my involvement in the wedding and the wedding party, and I just want you to hear it straight from me. I am completely indifferent, what you just said, to being in your wedding party. There are no issues for me, so I wanted to make that clear.
That's a great idea.
To my future sister-in-law, my brother, and my father, who are all on this chain, this is not an issue for me. Because then what does your father have to say? Then he has to complain about what he's really upset about, which is paying for this destination wedding.
Exactly. And then he'll respond by just going, Dad left the chat. He'll just leave the chat.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It hasn't really been brought up lately, but, there's many months out. I'm sure it'll get brought up again. And so I feel kind of confident in know what.
Yeah, but I think your attitude is right on the money. Like, don't get involved in wedding drama. Wedding drama is the most annoying drama.
Especially
Yeah.
destination wedding drama.
And all for this one day, like I understand weddings are important to people, but it's like, just relax. It's so uncool when people get like their panties in a twist about it. It should be a celebration, not,
It's a big party with an open bar. Like, just have fun.
Well,
Right.
if you're lucky, it has an open bar. I had a couple of people that invited me to weddings that didn't have an open bar. I guess I didn't go to that wedding.
You didn't go to that wedding?
No,
You didn't bring your own
I
party
don't go.
favors?
No, sometimes I bring my own bar if I have to. My cousin had a wedding. He's like, we're just doing beer and wine. I'm like, that will be my gift to you is the bar. Because if you're going to have a wedding like that, I won't be there unless there's a bar. And you don't want people having beer and wine. Where does that get you?
Messy.
Fucking sick of wine anyway. Sick of people talking about wine. Anyway, so
Do you think she needs to like specifically talk to her sister-in-law at all and be like, no?
you're not involved in this. Like, if you want to, but I would just send a text to all three of them. So that
Nip
way,
it in the bud,
it's like
yeah.
in writing. They can't keep talking about it. You know?
This was not sent under duress.
Yeah,
Maybe we have to
I don't
add
know
an
where this
asterisk.
conversation came from, but I just want everyone to know where I'm coming from so that there's no confusion. I'm totally fine with this. I'm happy you guys are getting married. I can't wait to go to the wedding. See you there, Dad.
Yeah, Dad, have a day off.
Yeah, Dad needs to chill.
Thank you.
Okay, take care.
Awesome. Thank you
Thanks,
so
bye.
much.
She seemed like such an innocent.
She's so sweet.
So sweet,
And I
that
love how she's
face.
like, I don't care. I'm so fine with it
It's
all.
almost like, when she was giving all the reasons, like, well, cousins sometimes put their, and it's like, who told you that? Like, it's almost
and you've
like
dodged a bullet, girl. You've dodged
totally.
a bullet.
Being a bridesmaid is a pain in the ass.
worst.
It's the worst. I know someone who had, I think, 16 bridesmaids because she didn't want to leave anybody out.
That's
I'm
annoying.
I don't have that many
That's
friends.
so
I don't
annoying.
know 16 people. In
16
my
of
in
those
my
stupid
42
dresses.
years of being alive, I have not had 16 friends over that time. That's ridiculous to me. Ridiculous.
Yeah. No, it was crazy. Crazy, crazy. Okay, well, let's take a quick break and we'll be back to wrap up with a little light one.
Okay, we're going to take a break. We're back now.
We are back. So Caroline writes, and this specifically I would love for Celeste to weigh in on. Of course, you, Chelsea, too, but
Thank you for
this
the
might be a
opportunity.
Celeste
So,
question.
dear Celeste,
Dear Celeste, I've been with my husband for 17 years, and he's always had a strong body odor. The last few years, though, it seems that it has gotten stronger. He's given up using standard aluminum-based deodorant and only uses natural brands. I've run the gamut, trying to help him find a good deodorant that covers his smell, but it just doesn't cut it. He has great hygiene. He showers once to twice daily, but he still stinks. He's also very sensitive and embarrassed about his BO, and I have to tread lightly when asking him nicely to change his shirt, put on deodorant, etc. I think it may be related to stress or diet, or maybe it's just his genetic makeup. Regardless, it's hard for me to hug him or be intimate without wanting to hold my breath. It's that bad.
oh,
Whoa.
no.
Please help. How can I get his stinky ass smelling better? Caroline.
Absolute red flag
Well,
if he
it's too
wants to
late
use
for a red-
natural deodorant. My husband went through a phase where he's like, I want to just use natural deodorant. I was like, well, then you can go and find a nice, pretty new wife because there's no fucking, absolutely not. And he doesn't have any body odor issues. He's delicious. But that is an absolute deal breaker for me. I find it, I wonder if he's been to the doctor. Is this something where
I
he's
think
getting
maybe
into a
doctors
doctor?
and-
Can you get like Botox shots?
Well, not only that, but Botox shots you can get under your arm,
Yeah.
FYI, to stop sweating. But if he has a natural, like a strong odor like that, it usually does have something to do with your pH balance or your diet. So like he should go to a doctor and he should be proactive about this because you're his wife and you've been married to him for 17 years, did you say?
1,000 years.
So that's like,
yeah.
and I don't care if he's sensitive about it. Like, you need to figure out a solution to this problem that you're having to endure because your husband hasn't figured it out yet. And going to a non-aluminum based deodorant is not the answer.
Is going to a studio apartment down the street. There's
Yeah.
no way. And if you're getting to a point where you can't hug him because it's so gross, he needs to get that sorted out.
I can't believe you've endured 17 years though of someone with body odor. I once dated a guy who's had body odor, and it wasn't body odor. There was like a smell that emanated from him, and it was very strong in the morning, and it was almost like he had a scent. Like sometimes your pheromones don't match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, it's a little late to find out for her because it's been 17 years.
I don't know if this is a pheromones thing.
I mean, also get in the clothespin and close your nose with it so that you do not have to breathe in his malodorous scent.
Yeah, get one of those necklaces for essential oils.
Yeah. You're going to have to start experimenting, but you need to go to a doctor and talk to somebody openly about him. I don't care if he's sensitive. He needs to get over that.
Get it sorted out.
It's your wife.
Yep. Okay,
well, on that note.
Good luck.
Okay, good luck. Problem solved. Celeste, thank you for being here. You guys, she's a very successful comedian, author. You've written a book. What was the name of your book again?
Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. And you can also please look into her beauty brand spelled Booie. Buoy Beauty.
That's it.
Yes.
Is it buoybeauty.com?
It's buoy.com.
Buoy.com. Not to be confused with the other kind of buoy.
Buoy.
Thank you, Celeste.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to see you.
Always love to see you.
Love to see you.